Okay, we're recording. I'd like to quickly introduce Anabel. We all know Anabel. She's no introduction needed. Just want to say thank you very much for this presentation. Your mother was a wonderful artist, and she will be greatly missed by now, Florida and many people. And the presentation's all yours. Thank you very much for doing this. Please tell us a little bit about you before you talk about your mom. I'd appreciate it.
To doing art because before I was doing architecture, freelancing, which I still do freelancing interiors, but I committed to dedicating my life to art, which is what you will learn more about me while we learn about my mom. So I'm very grateful to you for this platform and for joining us today and allowing me to share a little bit of who my mom was and what it is that she did. So my mother passed away on February 18th of this year. She just didn't wake up, died in her sleep. She did everything very fast, very quickly. And that was the way, the attitude she had in life, just do it, enjoy it, and be done with it, and move on, next stage. So at Broward Art Guild, where I'm on the board, they honored me by giving my mother this, this exhibit for this week. So the exhibit has had an inauguration this Sunday. Fran Mann Goodman, our member of our NAWA, is attending this meeting, and she attended the exhibit. So I brought some of her work. And as we continue, I will explain how she started and how she moved on from there. But she married very early in life. When she was 17, she moved to New York, and that's where she started taking art classes in New York. And she told me that they didn't give her any guidance. They just had a room where to meet, and everybody was on their own. 2 years after, she moves back to Peru with my Oh, why is this slide moving? I'm sorry, I have to see what happened. There we go. So this is part of the exhibit at Broward Art Guild, where I'm showing the evolution of all the things that she did. So the latest works of her were in PVC. So she attended some classes in Broward College, and Kathy Lasik, a wonderful instructor, allowed my mom and I to be independent, to do work on our own, but she did introduce us to different materials that we had not worked with before. And I embraced these materials, working, in fact, for an exhibit at the Coral Gables Museum. It was about educating the public of protecting our cyclists, our pedestrians, to create an awareness. And that's when she created that bicycle. And the other 3 forms that she enjoyed, and they were exhibited in Montreal, in Canada. Left, we have some of her stone sculpture. So my mother and I attended classes at North.
Excuse me, I don't know if you can hear me. I'm having some stability internet problems. I'm hoping that it's not going to affect the recording.
And that's where, as
Anabel, are you there? Can you hear me?
dimension to it. The things that she had some others do. So that's when she started adding more to her series of this sort of American Indian art. Then the others were just abstract paintings. And then she started a technique with aluminum. And the aluminum technique that you can see on the bottom left, those happen by chance. She was with my sister in Colorado. Can you still see my screen? There, sorry. So she was with my sister in Colorado, and my nephew was burning the range to make it kosher. And he was about to discard the aluminum that he had used for this. And my mom said, no, just wait. And she started creating art. And it evolved so much that she wrapped art. She painted on the canvas and wrapped the art with this aluminum. And it's aluminum sheathing. You get it at any place such as Home Depot. It's a roofing material. You take a blowtorch and you burn it really close, and you can create designs with it. And then there was another exhibit at Bailey Hall to the right, and the campaign was against smokers. So my mother created this shape of, it looks like lungs. I'm sorry, I don't have a large drawing image of this, but she did this for the campaign against smokers to raise awareness. And then we exhibited at NOVA with 2+3, the artist organization, way in the back. And she created these soldiers, and there's the military aircraft. And this was an homage to the women in the military. And we were always, my mom and I, trying to empower women. She dedicated her life to volunteering for NAAMAT here in the United States, and raising funds to send to Israel so that the women would work and send their kids to daycare centers, and always empowering women and kids and society. And for instance, dropouts, they would have education, technical vocational education, so that they could still earn a living and be happy about it. So my mom was always empowering people, helping everyone go to the next level. She's got several ceramics, but they're very hard to see. They're on the left, they're on display, but I will show you more as the presentation continues. In addition to this presentation, currently at Broward Art Guild through Friday, there is another exhibit going on at Gallery 6 Main Library in Broward County. 2+3 is the organization where I preside, and my mother, being a member, has been honored. So we have placed some of her art on the walls and some of her art in the cases where you can see the fiberglass and resin on the bottom right. Then there is a bronze piece titled Girl. And this one is Sedona. You can only see the side of it. And it's a small stone that resembles like the stone that you can find in Sedona. And this exhibit is through the end of the month at Gallery 6 Main Library, Broward County. My mom and I had several exhibits together. This one actually was her solo exhibit at Caribe Gallery, but we also exhibited at Maor Gallery, which is no longer there, in Midtown, next to Wynwood. This was what she used to paint in Peru. So it was figurative. She won an award with this, lighting the candles. And my sister did a takeoff from this, printed it in silk, and it's a cover for the challah bread. And this was part of the work that she was taught to do in Peru in Academia Suarez Vertiz, figurative and old school. So she went a long way from how she started to paint. And you can see when she came to the United States, she embraced acrylics and freestyle, freeform, and her favorite color was purple. So any tone of purple, lilac, she embraced. And she also liked to experiment, so she would grab combs and sticks and just add texture to the work she did. She loved to pour the paint directly on the canvas. That was what she preferred doing, and just experimenting. This is a large piece. It's 4 foot by 3 feet, and it's on exhibit at Broward Art Guild at the moment. This is some of the ceramic work she did. This is in porcelain, and she used to push the limits because porcelain can get very fragile, and she would just turn it and twist it and make it very pointy and thin. She loved to make it extremely thin. She loved to push the limits. So sometimes the pieces, she would create knots with it on the right, on the left, during the firing, because you fire once and then you must fire a second time when you add the glaze if you're doing high fire. So sometimes the pieces separated, but my mom and I celebrate those cracks or those accidents, and it was assembled on a metal piece. So nobody should know that this was an accident, and this was sanded before the second firing. So it actually was planned to be exhibited as a triptych rather than just a broken piece. This exhibit was one of the ones we had as a mother and daughter collaboration. So on the left side are her pieces, and it so happens that this one is similar to the one I just showed you. She had 2 of them that were very similar. And then she had others that, again, she's twisting the porcelain. Then actually this one is mine, but the others belong to her. And sometimes they were assembled, they were displayed on a metal piece. So a frame was created expressly for it. The others on the right are mine. And yeah, there's another one that belongs to my mother. So they are a little bit mix and match of both of our work. This is a close-up of one of her pieces. It's work that she did, first painted on the canvas, applied this metal, which it comes on a flat sheet, but as you burn it, it'll wrinkle naturally. In addition to that, she would bend it on purpose to create more of this texture. And if you bring the blowtorch, not all the materials will turn gold. Sometimes it doesn't have this finish and it just stays silver and smoke, black or smoke. But this particular one turned into gold. And so she stapled it to the edges of the canvas and then created these porcelain flowers that she inserted on top and fitted them right in, and then applied the paint right from the tube. She liked to express the paint right from the tube onto the canvas. So this is a smaller one. The other one is a larger piece. This is a smaller one. This is actually on display in the entrance of the Broward Art Guild. And you can see how she grabs pliers and she twists the material. So she twists it to make pieces that were pleasing to her. And then you can see how she's squirting on the paint. This one was also created with the aluminum, spray painted it. This is spray paint. And this one in particular, I didn't add the slide, I should. I did one in cork. It's a heart, it's a purple heart. So when we exhibited in NOVA, in the library there, they have a very nice gallery. So I inserted my purple heart in here, and that was honoring the military, the purple heart. This one happened that she was walking in Central Park with my sister. My mom traveled a lot with my sister and with me and my other siblings. And while strolling through Central Park, she picked up these leaves during the fall. And she started to create these assemblages. And they are inside like a shadow box. That's how she framed them. She has others that have seeds in them. I'm not sure. This one I think is only leaves. But there's another one that has seeds, and it's part of the presentation. It's very similar to this because With the browns, it's made of seeds instead of the leaves, and it's just a display, a composition that she creates. Thank you.
Beautiful.
So this was a current series of these. So 2 of these are on display currently at Broward Art Guild with her aluminum, the very first pieces she created with the aluminum. Those also were on exhibit in Dallas, Texas. Luminarte Gallery asked us to bring our work there. So my mom and I exhibited there. And then she has some pieces in stone as well. Oh, my, sorry, I'm gonna turn off that phone. I'm sorry. She liked to work with electric drills. And because she liked everything fast, started even though learning, because she liked to do everything fast, she asked the instructor if she could use electric drills. He welcomed this. So my mom and I worked outside at Northeast Adult. We were working outside doing this sculpture. And then we were just working in the patio in different homes. I was working out of my house. My brother's house was where my mom continued working with her stones. These are more of her stones. She did several of these pieces. This one is assembled. It's 2 pieces, and she placed one on top of the other. They're not that big. They probably measure about 12 inches in height. But it's interesting how she figured out the other. That's more of her work. All these sinuous and she, when she did, she was so happy. These are just of the other ones. One to the arch. I would say it measures, I would say 3 feet in height. This one was on display at the Coral Springs Museum of Art, and she had, this is a woman, her Gallery 60 Library. This is a horse, and they were created. We do fundraising. As I told Amat, our chapter, she founded it, and then she became the Southeast Regional President. And every year we did a fundraise, and they were these art projects. So she just, we distributed mannequins, and she came up with this idea of skaters, ice skaters. This is more of the work with PVC currently on display at Broward Art Guild. This is one of the last ones she created. And actually we worked on this together. And now I am doing a spin-off of this. So I am making shorter pieces, and I will paint them in different colors, spray paint them. And I'm creating bases in acrylic to assemble them. This one won an award, and it was on exhibit in Barcelona, in Spain. The award was won locally, but it was on exhibit in Spain. So this is the exhibit in Spain, in Espacio Hospitalet. It's in very close to the city of Barcelona. It's on the outskirts. And flanking the entrance were 2 of her pieces. This is the one that won an award, and this other one were flanking the entrance. I have my burnt aluminum flowers, a technique that I embraced from her burning aluminum, and they were here on this edge, on the balcony. And I also had some work on the left in red. My flowers were powder coated in red. This, she didn't attend. It was a very nice exhibit. So that's just the opening. They had a performance. It's very nice to do these performances. Performance artists came, and this is how the inauguration went. It was very interesting. Oh, this slide is repeated. We exhibited in Peru, Arte Vibrante, and to the right, she had her purple sculpture in fiberglass and resin. So this is her piece. The others are mine. And she had more work on the walls. So she had smaller pieces in aluminum and with her porcelain flowers. That was Arte Vibrante in Lima, Peru. I don't know if this is the end of the presentation. Let me see. This might be the end of the presentation. So I can, we can talk about her. You can ask me questions right now. Is there anything else you want to know about my mother? Her personality was amazing. She would just embrace everything. For instance, she was doing an activity, you asked her, Mom, we need you to do this, boom, she did it immediately. And one of her last paintings, it's on display at Broward Art Guild. Unfortunately, I don't have a slide. It was honoring Black History Month. So my sister, my mother and I, each one from their home, tuned onto a Zoom, the three of us, and we each created our own work. So my mom did broken chains. That was her last project. It was using gloss, the material, and she created the texture, the gloss media, and added the paint, and it was like broken shackles. So the piece is called Broken Chains. And that was the very last piece that was on exhibit at Broward Art Guild and is currently on exhibit in her show. And please, whatever you want to ask me, you're more than welcome to make your questions right now.
I have a question. How did you do the sculpting of a PVC? How did you get it to stay on the base without it having problems with the and everything else? What did she use?
Okay, what you do? Yeah, the tip, the PVC is round and hollow. So if you cut out a piece of wood and you insert it tightly, then you can screw it on. You can go to a wood workshop and they can cut it for you because you need a special machine, a special tool to cut it. So you glue it on the edges and it'll stay. And you can cap the edges that way and spray paint everything and nobody can tell it's a different material. And that's how you attach it to the bottom. That's a very good question. And I want to also explain, when you have the PVC, it comes in long pipes. So what you do, you either grab a heat gun, and as soon as the heat gun gets close to it, it starts losing the firmness, and you can grab it with gloves or grab it from the edges, and then you can bring it to a cylindrical piece that you have in metal or better or wood, and then you can mold it. So while it's hot, you can mold it very easily. So you just bring it close to any round piece. You can do it without it also, but by doing that, you can lose the roundness of the pipe and it can, like a straw. When you grab a straw, it'll just go flat on you. So to prevent that, it's best to use like a cylinder, and then that's how you mold it. This is how metal people work. When you're working in metal, that's how you can fold metal. Just by bringing it close.
It's easy. People think it's easier. It's not.
Nothing is easy. It all takes the trial and error and perseverance, and you lose a lot of pieces, and you just keep working at it. Fran, you want to share something with us?
Yes, I do. I want to share that I was there at that exhibit, and I am telling you, I was blown away. There are no words to describe Ira and I talked about it all day. I took photos, I sent them to my daughter, and I dreamt about it at night. I want you to know. It was
You're so
just
sweet.
incredible. You have to be there and see how these dimension protrudes from the canvas and how, I mean, you can talk about this in words, but there are no words. This really, I was just in awe, and I still feel that you should take this to the MoMA because I think that this is so extraordinary. Her talent was so extraordinary and so different. I've never seen this before. And there are a couple of the
Mm.
As aluminum, you can see the silver color aluminum. As you bring it in, this comes with a finish, and then it'll transform with the heat, it changes to gold. And if you bring it too closely, and it lights a fire, it'll be on fire. I'll make a little video and show you how when you burn it, it just lights fire, and then interesting. It's a lot of fun. Just observing my nephew do this. She said, "Oh, I want to create art with that." And when I saw what he was doing, I said, "Oh my God, I love this media." And that's how I started creating my first flowers. So my first flowers were just burned with a blowtorch. And after that, a gallery in Wynwood asked me that they wanted them in color for Mother's Day. And that's when I started powder coating my flowers. But my original flowers were only done with the blowtorch.
When you do the blowtorch, do you have to wear anything over your eyes or anything?
There's fumes, and it's best to wear a mask. You do it outdoors. It's healthier. PVC and this aluminum, all these materials, it's best to wear a mask, which I do, but not a very, I just wear the disposable, very smoking, it's burning. So for me, just a mask. I believe that wearing a thicker mask would be better, but it's just hard to put on a heavy mask while you work.
Annabelle,
I just want to say, I think your work is absolutely gorgeous. I have just blown away. I loved everything that you present today. It's all so beautiful. Where are you having, did you say you were having an exhibit right?
It's her mother's and hers.
Yes, Judy, this is my mom's work, Raquel Rub in Memoriam, and away in February. So this is a tribute to her life. And the exhibit is at Broward Art Guild, and which is located on just north of Oakland Park Boulevard.
No, thank you. I've got it, but I'm on the West Coast, so it's not going to work for me. I'm in Sarasota.
Okay, I have a little video, and I will share it with the.
I'm going to have to warn you that I'm having, I don't know if it's our local area, but I'm having internet problems. So on the recording, it might be sporadic. I really apologize. I'm hoping that you guys are not having the same issues I am, but
oh, please, the work is gorgeous.
But it might show up on the recording. Annabelle, I had a question.
Yes.
I was wondering, I'm sorry. It's freezing up. I don't know if you can hear me. You have a unique, Annabelle, if you can hear me, you have a unique perspective that you are the child of an artist and as well as an artist yourself, but can you tell us your first thing that you remember working with your mom on? What project, as an art project? Can you remember as far back?
Well, to tell you the truth, when I started working with her, I don't remember, because when we were very young, all 5 kids went to this academy. Peru. We had the best, but my mom always volunteered to do art projects at home. So she was always creating. They were on display in the JCC of Peru, Hebraica. I remember she was working with this lady from Australia. I don't know for what the project was, but they were doing the symbol of Australia. There was the emu, there was the kangaroo. She was working all of these large scale projects at my house. So she was doing things for Christmas. She would take like a velvet and add the texture. I think she was pressing on it. It was a type of velvet that had glue on the back. Making leaves. So but exactly when we started, I couldn't tell, because what I do with my grandchildren, if I'm doing art, I let them do art. So probably my mother allowed me to work while she was working. I honestly don't remember, but we started doing collaborative pieces when she did these aluminum pieces, and I added my powder coated flowers, and we did exhibit it, and we did win an award. And that's another slide I did not include, because this presentation I wanted to be just mother and just for in honor of my mother. So in the future, I will do another one that is both of our work together. So it was mostly just combining my work with her work. Or the very last one that you saw, with it looks like palms, it's like flowers of the PVC. That one we did together. And but basically, she worked in one place, I worked in another. And one time my sister-in-law came to a Northeast adult, and she said, that's no fun. You two are too serious. Each one is working in their own corner, doing their own thing. She thought you would come and talk and have a good time. For us, it was art, taking it seriously, each one working as much as we could to get as much done. And we just enjoyed it. For us, it was a lot of fun. It was, sometimes she came to do ceramics with me, but she was working on her own project and I was working on my own project. One thing I always encouraged her, if there was an accident with the work, she was about to discard it, and I said, no, celebrate that. You can create something with that, and she did. For instance, she has a piece that has mugs, and the mugs are arranged on a platform, and there's a collector who has very fine art, and he bought this piece from my mother. It's in black and white, and it was basically an accident. She created mugs, and they didn't work. They wouldn't stand on their own. So instead of discarding them, she just created a piece. So it was just, I was influencing her. I was asking her, Mom, we need to enter this competition. We need to enter this exhibit. So I was like the force pushing her to create. And she would consult with me.
So beautiful. What a beautiful.
How long was your mom a member of NAWAFL Florida? I'm sorry, my internet is breaking up. My internet is breaking up. I can't hear or see yet.
Always ask my mom, I don't want you to do volunteer work. I don't want you to do anything. Actually, he didn't say volunteer work. He said, I don't want you to do a person who helped everybody go to the next level. And if he recognized some talent in anything, he would just help them achieve it and go with it. But when he was passing away in 2000, in December, she started painting sunflowers. I brought her a planter with sunflowers from a party that they sent to her that she couldn't attend. And she started painting the sunflowers. So my dad was thrilled to see her start painting again. And that's when I started doing ceramics at Northeast Adult, and I brought her along. And then we discovered the sculpture in 2001.
What year was
probably
this?
2002.
You said this is at 2001?
Ceramics in 2001. That's when we started doing ceramics. And probably in 2002, we must have started with sculpture. And she fell in love with sculpture. She said it was her passion. It was the media that she enjoyed the most. And she's done other geometric shapes also that unfortunately, I don't have a picture to show you. They are very cool. I'm not showing them, but I have to add on to this presentation because the work is pretty large.
Anabel, did your mother's parents do any kind of art?
No, but my grandmother was doing fundraise for Peru. She was the president of, it used to be called Pioneer Woman, and before it was called NAWAFL. So every year, my grandma was thinking of ways, she was creative in the sense that she was thinking of new ways to raise funds. And I remember going with my mother and my grandmother, she was doing these scrolls for Purim. So the Esther, the Megillah Esther. So they were designing these scrolls to put the Megillah, and every year they were coming up with a different project. So the creativity started with my grandma. She was always figuring it out. Her husband died when she was fairly young because my mother used to live in La Oroya, which is in the mountains. And it was very close to Cerro de Pasco, where the Americans, an American corporation, had the rights to dig, to take the minerals from the mines. So my grandfather lived in La Oroya and sold many goods from his store. Unfortunately, he passed away from the heart. He had a heart condition. But when my mother, before this, my mother was in high school, she relocated to Lima to pursue the studies. And that's where my grandmother was figuring out, oh, she's gonna buy some land, she's gonna build some buildings. She was always very creative. Not particularly transcends art. It's with anything. And when you are in that household where you're always figuring out novel ways of doing things, it just opens up your mind. It explodes. Like my grandmother used to bring huge pots for Purim and cook desserts in her house. All the ladies came and cooked in huge pots. It became a bakery. So we were raised always helping others, always finding ways to raise funds. It was very fun. There was no time to not be active and alert and hands-on. I want to share a cute anecdote of who my grandfather on my mom's side was. He was working in La Oroya. I hear he was a very nice man. I don't remember him. I was very young. And my mother borrowed Enciclopedia Temática. It was an encyclopedia. There was no internet, of course, at that time. She was doing homework and there were no fountain pens. There was just, the ink that you dipped. And she got one of the volumes that she had borrowed with ink. There was ink, a stain of ink on one of the pages. So my grandfather went and bought a whole entire encyclopedia and returned the new volume, the untouched volume, to the people who my mother had borrowed the volume from, so that they would return the perfect book. So my mother was raised with very high values of morals, of kindness, and thank God that it's passed on to my family and kids, and it's a blessing to see kindness all around us, and may we all inspire others to elevate themselves, to do what makes them happy, to be creative in whatever way they they like to do it to express themselves and to make this a kinder world where we have peace and enjoy each other's company. And I thank you so much for allowing me to do this tribute to my mother today. I'm very grateful.
Very beautiful.
It's been wonderful. Thank you. And I hope you do it again. I'd like to see some of the collaboration too versus you and your mom in the future. Because I think that's such a unique gift to have
I
connection.
no. Say something. I don't know if this pertains. She's looking for huge florals. I don't know if she has anything that would work into this, but it's it's supposed to be in the northwood section of West Palm Beach. So, you know, if that would pertain, let me know and I'll give you the info on it.
Would you send that information to me too?
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. It came on the Ricky report. So if you just go on the Ricky report, that's where I got it from. But then Ricky sent it over and said, please tell everybody. So I'm passing it on.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks like a really cool place.
I want to thank you so much, Anabel. Really, it's been a beautiful presentation. I'm going to apologize up front with the recording. I am going to hope it recorded because my internet has been unstable for the last month, and it's not my fault, it's Xfinity's. But the guys are parked out there and not doing their work. And so I apologize for any kind of breakups during the recording, but I'm going to hope that we captured most of it or the essence. And maybe if I'll include the biography with the recording so that people could read it as well as see the recording on YouTube. Okay, thank you very much. Anything else before we?
Thank you all. And we're looking forward to the presentation on the 27th of May, right?
Yes. Joanne? She gone? I think she was here earlier. Okay.
And
Two birds that are coming into that could have come into my living room. What were you saying?
Oh, no, I was just saying that it's wonderful presentation and we're having our next one on the 27th. And Anabel, I want to say, I love the fact that you influenced your mom not to throw things away because the idea of taking what was broken and making something beautiful is, I love that concept, you know, it's amazing. Beautiful, beautiful influence on both. I guess that's it. Can we all say goodbye and thank you very much.
thank you all. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It was wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Great.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
And I